Um, this presentation is on Rudolf Steiner, who was born on the 27th of February, 1861, and died on the 30th of March, 1925. I have one of his quotes here, which says, "To truly know the world, look deeply within your own being. To truly know yourself, take real interest in the world." A little bit of background information on him. Like I said, he was born in 1861 in Austria-Hungary, which is modern-day Croatia, to a father who was a railroad station master and a mother who was a homemaker. His parents were Austrian, and he grew up in a variety of small towns all over Austria. Um, Naturally, a railroad station master would expect, especially back then, to earn his living all over in a variety of train stations. In any case, Steiner completed high school right around Vienna in 1879 and did his undergrad at the Vienna Institute of Technology from 1979 or 1879 through 1883. The next several years of his life are spent working on editing novels and a variety of writings. He's doing a lot of teaching and generally what he's formulating, I guess, his philosophy. He's learning how to learn and learning how to teach and kind of developing a philosophy around that. Um, the From the years of 1890 through 1897, that 7 year period, was probably one of the longest periods of time in his lifetime that he spent at one job. Um, Spent a lot of time editing a collection of Goethe's scientific works while working at the Schiller Goethe Archives in Weimar. Um, During that period, in 1891, he received his PhD at the University of Rostock in Germany. Um, 1913 is a pivotal year for a lot of people. It is the year in which he founds the Anthroposophical Society, which will go on to change the way in which a lot of people are educated, a lot of children are educated throughout the world. And it's basically the birth of a new system of philosophy, um, and especially educational philosophy. Uh, Following the founding of the society, like the 10 years following that, he spends them constructing the first Gotenum in Switzerland, which is a massive wood and concrete construction, which basically serves as the headquarters for the Anthroposophical Society, and um, you know, as a learning serves as a learning center for that philosophy. The philosophy itself can be explained by Steiner, which he says anthroposophy is a path of knowledge aiming to guide the spiritual element in the human being to the spiritual in the universe. Um, Essentially, trying to explain how essential the spiritual aspect of human life is in the entire human experience. Um, they describe anthroposophy as wisdom of the human being, or today what we would call awareness of one's humanity. Right now, there are about 10,000 institutions worldwide, about 1,000 of which are specifically schools associated in some way with the discipline. Of course, in emphasizing the spiritual aspect of life, um, what they assert is that a fruitful life is is achieved by applying a strong spiritual component to every aspect of life and every aspect of every form of knowledge. uh, the prevailing impact on education, I think, was probably Steiner's lasting, enduring and legacy from his philosophy. The first Waldorf school was established in 1919 in Germany, and it was one of the first schools to apply anthroposophy specifically as its guiding philosophy. A few years ago, about a decade before that, Steiner had published a book called The Education of the Child, in which he enumerated his belief that each child should be educated in a way that actualizes who they are and a way in which morally responsible individuals are created. Shortly following his lectures on child development and education all over Europe, um, shortly, right around the founding of that Waldorf school, the first school in Germany, um, in the early 1920s, uh, Steiner, it was amazing the amount of there was an explosion of Waldorf schools essentially, as people began to see what the philosophy could do for them. Uh, what tends to happen with younger Waldorf, essentially Waldorf schools are divided into like younger children, probably 13 and younger, and then older children, 14 through 18, which are high school kids. The younger children, essentially, the schools teach the children all about how to manage their four temperaments, which are sanguine, choleric, phlegmatic, um, and melancholic. The children are taught how to cooperate. There's very very limited competition, and they're each taught according to what they can learn. The teachers determine what their pace is and teach according to that pace. Secondary education is essentially when actual academic learning begins. You know, science and whatnot, like actual subjects. Usually, they're taught by teachers who are specialized in a subject at that point. Um, a lot of controversy, of course, exists, as you would expect, surrounding Waldorf schools, which tend to adhere to Steiner's philosophy. Uh, One of the major enduring issues is that a great deal of Waldorf parents choose not to immunize their children. Um, Steiner believed that children received, were strengthened by essentially by getting sick, which built their immunity. A lot of schools a lot of Waldorf schools don't require their students be vaccinated, but will state that they make vaccination information available to parents, to whom they neither encourage nor discourage it. Um, you know, the state of California has more publicly funded Waldorf schools than any other states in the United States. Um, it's not a very surprising thing. A lawsuit was filed in the late 20th century, actually, I think it was 1998, challenging the public funding of those schools, essentially claiming that the world of schools were religious schools, which violated the Establishment Act in the American Constitution, which obviously says that you cannot provide public funding to religious schools. There's essentially emphasizing the distinction between church and state. The law school was dismissed 7 years after it was filed in 2005, as the courts found that the Waldorf system of education, rightly so, is not a religious educational system, but really is more of a philosophy of life, a way of living, etc. There is a huge lasting influence of Steiner's work, especially as it relates to education and education of children specifically. I think that probably the largest extent to which one can see that the philosophy has influenced the world is that just in the past few years, a Waldorf school was established in Nairobi, Kenya, just a few years ago, in a fantastic facility, which is pretty amazing. I mean, you would have to imagine that there is no way that Steiner could have expected that his philosophies would be leading to schools being, especially in the early 20th century, the schools being founded in East Africa almost, 100 years later. Later, uh, I think that's just kind of a testament to how much is the schools have the philosophy has influenced the world. The Highland Hall School is a Waldorf school that's existed here in California for uh, over 50 years now. I think it was founded in 1955 and provides a good sense, a good idea into what the schools try to do. They state that our unique approach to learning successfully addresses the changing needs and capacities of children at each stage of development. Through a curriculum of academically challenging lessons infused with arts and hands on learning, Highland Hall students are provided with a solid academic foundation, the ability to think creatively, a sympathetic interest in the world, self confidence, and an abiding moral purpose. Um, and that's from their website. And I believe that this is kind of a prevailing philosophy in all of the Waldorf schools, which provide, I think, a decent, well-rounded human being. And that is my summary on the theorist Rudolf Steiner.